Well, of course, it is my sincere pleasure to introduce Miss Cara Sevier, who is a fellow Xavier alum, and also we
Yes.
stayed in the same dorm, Catherine Drexel Hall
That's right.
at XU.
It's you.
So anytime Attorney Winters has brought on every Southern alum in America. And so
Wow.
today I have been happy to have two XU alums on, you and Malika Lamont. So I am just ecstatic to have you. I'm so proud of you and all that you have created. You are an empath. You are a Reiki master, an entrepreneur. I love that your mission is to just empower people with tools to be able to heal their past traumas. As we know, living is traumatic.
Right.
So we have had
Right.
a lot of trauma here in
Right.
2020 with the pandemic and all the losses we've experienced. But then also people just get stuck in just hurtful places with relationships and family members and losing things that they've had. There's a lot of grief that has happened. I think that you also represent for a body of women in healthcare. And you have been able to kind of share some of those experiences as well. I watch you on Facebook. You have been able to just kind of chronicle your own research and spiritual journey yourself that you've had, and you've just been able to see where energy comes from and how energy is so important to us. I think that this, and I'm excited for everybody to learn about empaths and Reiki, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily have that background. But I know that you have been able to move past what's comfortable and be able to tap into what is spiritual and also what empowers us. And I want us to be able to have our viewers, our listeners, be able to hear about their own natural healing abilities. And I know that is a gift that you have. And so I'm super excited to have you on. Welcome to In Our Own Defense, Miss Cara Sevier.
Well, I must say, thank you so much, Dr. Tarver. Everybody, this is a disclaimer. If I say Deanie, just know that I'm going back in my mind. So if I
You're
say
going back,
going way back. So Dr. Tarver, I am extremely proud of you as well. As you mentioned, going all the way back to college years and just seeing your growth and just everything that you have accomplished, the platforms that you have created. It is a blessing to be here tonight, the last night of 2020 with you, and just with your platform and Attorney Winters. It's a blessing. So thank you so much for having me tonight. I must say that. Wow, 2020 has been a year, but it has been amazing. And I know that we have experienced challenges. I know we've experienced loss. However, if we look deeper within ourselves, we've also found some things, right? We found out kind of who we are. We found out some things we need to work on. We found out some things that we're really good at. And some of us have been able to take those things that we're really good at, our talents and gifts, and parlay them into opportunities. So kudos to everyone who's been able to do that. If you're a person who was just pretty much overwhelmed and overcome, I totally understand. As Deanie mentioned, I'm an empath, and empaths are people who can really feel the emotions of other people, animals, plants, the environment around them, as if it's their own emotion. So for instance, I can walk into a room and I can feel the energy of the room. I can kind of hear and feel what people are thinking. And it may sound kind of funny, or kind of different, but I used to think that something was wrong because I would walk into a room and I'd be like, okay, I know what this person's thinking. I know what that person's thinking. And it's overwhelming. And so because it's not something that you can develop it, but it's natural, right? It's something that you're really born with, and you're born that way. So you're kind of used to it. You just don't really know a name for it in the beginning. You don't really understand, why you might be feeling okay 1 minute, and then you walk into a room and then all of a sudden you just want to, curl up because it's just so much coming at you. So being able to familiarize myself and accept that wording, as empath, when I had my spiritual awakening, my second big one in August of this year, I ran across some notation that I had made on my computer, and it had the word empath. And along with everything that I was experiencing during that time, that was a word that really just it bounced at me when I saw it, and I said, "Oh my goodness, that's me. This is what this is. Like there's a word for it. There's a name for it." And I had already done the research 2 years before in 2018, and I just had not embraced it. So having the experience of COVID, and I was out of town at the time for about 30 days, having that awakening really shifted me into a space of honoring who I am, honoring being able to utilize this unique talent as a way to help people. I'm more in tune with people now. As you mentioned, I'm a Reiki master. I'm more in tune when I do my energetic healing. I can pick up on information about a person and what they may need to work on in addition to the healing that I'm doing. Who knows, I might be able to get a perception from a family member that has transitioned, and there might be a message for my client. So, and that was a huge surprise to me. I was like, wait a second, wait. The first time it happened, I was like, wait, am I really hearing what I'm hearing? And so I just kind of started asking the client, and they were like, yep, this is them. I was like, okay, well, I have some information for you. And so I just kind of embraced it. Like you said, these things were happening, and I had to transition. It just really forced me to be where I am today.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because sometimes people like, so we call it different things. So we'll say my intuition or my senses, or some people will say, my gift, but often it is looked at in a negative way. And so people are overwhelmed with it, and they don't understand what they're experiencing. And, there's a lot of, I think, kind of negative statements that are frequently made, because there is this confusion with, oh, you're a fortune teller, you're going to read my palm, you're right. And so it gets really sensationalized, and people start thinking about to, call me now, Cleo,
Right.
from, from back when we were in school. And so, I appreciate you being able to really help our listeners and our viewers understand that, hey, no, nothing's wrong with me. I'm not actually experiencing a schizophrenic moment, but I'm
Right.
getting in tune with my spiritual self. And as you said, 2 years ago, this came to you, but you didn't do anything with it. And I think a lot of times people don't necessarily do things with it because they're not sure what to do, or they think maybe, well, maybe it'll go away and I won't have to have to really deal with it.
Right.
But you were able to embrace it, and 2 years later be able to now put it into. So tell us a little bit about how you've been practicing and how that's been affected during this period of COVID.
So the beauty of this year is that, as I mentioned, just this awakening that I've had really put me in a position to really hear and get in tune with the path that I should take. And because part of energetic healing can be done long distance, it was very easy for me to transition from more of the in-person format to doing healing online. So Zoom became my best friend in 2020. And so I've really been able to transition that, and I've been able to open up certain opportunities for more than one person to come on and experience Cara Reiki. And so it's just been a beautiful experience. People being open and being able to trust that everything is energy, and that the way that you can hear me, the way that you can see me is energetic. This is energy, electrons, all kinds of things that we learned in college, about how waveforms and how you see things. Being able to translate that and do the healing from a long distance standpoint, and the fact that Reiki is actually set up to heal long distance. So this was right in tune with what has been happening with the COVID pandemic. So for me, it was really a transition to say, this actually makes it easier for me to be able to work with people, more people, during the day and sometimes evening, versus, okay, I have these rigid appointments and I may have to drive here, or someone may come to me. It's just more of, let's get to my computer and let's log on. So it's actually been more of a transition that's been very smooth for me.
As we want to thank you again for coming on this show. I was always fascinated about the space. Always was fascinated about you as an empath. how do you experience it? When I know some people can, sometimes it's, am I overly sensitive? Am I overly super stressful? Am I super sensitive? How does, when you receive this, what kind of burden does it put on you? Because I mean, it's got to be overwhelming to feel these emotions for people, to feel the pains of people, to be able to have like, people in your space, you could read them and it comes to you without, I know you don't, sometimes you're like, hey, I don't want this right now. I just want to,
Right.
but how do you take care of yourself in this space? You know, I always tell Dr. Tarver, I'm like, how do you take care of you with all of this that's happening in your life? How do you take care of you when you're receiving all of this energy that's coming your way?
Thank you so much for asking that question. It is such an imperative question, and be able to have people think about, when you see an empath, just know that our natural thing is to absorb everything, from an energetic field of a person. And what I learned over time is that I have to daily put myself in a practice of protection. So for me, that includes Reiki on myself every single day. And sometimes throughout the day, like if I'm going to encounter a particular person, or I'm in a situation and I can tell now, like, wait a second, this is not my energy. And we have to grow to that, because again, we don't grow up knowing, unless, you have a parent or someone who teaches you that, but you don't grow up knowing, what the word is, and knowing that, hey, you need to separate your emotions and feelings from what you're experiencing. So for me, I had to just really bow down to that, because initially I felt like, from my spiritual advisors, they were like, oh, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. I felt like, wait a second, like, why me? Like, I don't want to do all that. It seems like it's a lot of work, and this has to be done on a daily, everyday basis. And that was a few years ago. And like I said, 2018, I kind of had this awakening. And so now what I've done is I have embraced who I am, and it's made it easier for me to do Reiki on myself every single day, to make sure that I set up boundaries with people. I have to make sure that if I know that I'm going to bed at a certain time, I'm going to cut off communication, an hour or two before then. I want to make sure that my energetic field is clear. I don't want a lot of negative energy around me. So we hear the term energy vampires. Those are people that just really suck the life out of you. So you have to be honest about who those people are. It might be a parent, it might be a sibling, it might be, a family member, a cousin, or a friend, or whomever. And you have to get very serious about how you're going to protect your energy. And for me, it's been very easy to do that. I think because, one, I'm very introverted, but I can also kind of come out and, and Deanie remembers back at Xavier, I'm quiet, but I also know how to kind of get in certain situations, and I can talk and be, social, but I'm more just observant of things around me. And if I feel energy from a certain person, I'm going to move. I'm not going to entertain a situation too much if I feel that the energy is of a lower frequency, or not kind of on my level, so to speak. I'm very good at kind of blocking things out. And all of this has come over time, and being able to really accept who I am, because I really believe, had I not just really bowed down to the process and the purpose, I would have still been kind of struggling as far as what is this? Like, why am I hearing this, or what's really going on, or, that kind of thing. But being able to prioritize myself, and a lot of times empaths experience guilt, because we do need to remove ourselves a lot of times from situations and people. And sometimes people don't understand that. And so we can feel kind of bad about, needing to kind of separate ourselves out. But I don't have that challenge as much anymore, because I understand like who I am, and there's a greater purpose. And I really believe that the ones who really know me, the ones who are really in my inner circle, will understand, okay, well, she's, doing her thing, or she's got a session or something like that, where I have to kind of partition off, a lot of time to prepare.
No, I think that's fascinating. I'm sorry, Dr.
No,
Tarver.
go ahead, Attorney Winters.
No, I find it fascinating, and I've always appreciated the space, because growing up with we called our greatest grandmother in our neighborhood, in our community. You have your mommy, you have your grandmama, you have your big mama, and then what we call sweet mama.
Oh, wow.
So sweet mama, and the white projects of where I grew up off of Pearl Street in Grenada. she was an empath. People would come far and wide for her to communicate with them on this level. I mean, far and wide. They would come from out of town. And people come from Chicago in order to spend time. Police would talk with her to try to see if she could fill the space in which people were in. And so I find it fascinating, and I'm very acknowledging of your powers or really your skill set. It's a realistic skill set that helps so many people, and we're so proud to have you. And I'm sorry, Dr. Tarver, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I appreciate that question about the self-care, because I think oftentimes when people are healers, that is the one area that people don't realize, that you have to have those boundaries set in place. And you were even resistant yourself, like, oh, I got to do this every day.
Yeah. Right.
But it just goes to show that even healers need to have their community of other healers to remind them to take good care of them. And so I appreciate that question, Attorney Winters, and also your response. Carrie, since you just gonna make this thing going back to Xavier. So
I know, right? Let's just take it on back. Come on.
Just take it on back.
You know how we used to do now, remember? Let's just go back. Let's just take it back,
But if you could, I know you have a lot of good resources that you can share with people. Give people your website, give people, you have upcoming events or resources that you think would be helpful for people, because I know that this is an area that people are still trying to understand and need sometimes permission to be able to utilize.
Right.
So what can you share with our listening and viewing audience?
Well, again, thank you so much for this opportunity. And this is going to be a lifelong journey, just sharing about being an empath, sharing about Reiki and the healing powers of that and everything that involves. So the best thing would be to follow me on social media. I'm always giving content regarding empaths and Reiki. So I will start with my social media handles, and then I will end with my website. My website definitely has information on my services as well as any upcoming events. So for Instagram, you can reach me at official Cara Sevier, and I'll spell that for you, CARASEVIER. So official Cara Sevier on Instagram. On Facebook, Cara Sevier Industries, LLC. And on LinkedIn, Cara Sevier, again, CARASEVIER. And then on Twitter, THE, Cara Sevier. And then my website is carasevier.com.
Well, I just got to tell you once again how proud I am of you. It's so good to see you.
Thank you.
You were beautiful then. You're even more gorgeous now.
Thank you.
And I think just showcasing, we were talking earlier before you came on about women entrepreneurs and sometimes how our businesses end up suffering, especially when there's things like a pandemic going on at disproportionate rates to our male counterparts. So I'm so happy that you are here to be able to support your business, and gave people information to be able to see where to find you and get some outstanding information and broaden their horizons in some areas that they might not have felt they were safe enough to be able to explore. So thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure to see you. And this won't be our last time seeing you.
It won't. Thank you so much, both of you. I really appreciate you both, and this platform is amazing. And it was a wonderful time. Anytime I can share about empaths, because we are the healers, and we're here to really help uplift the vibration of the planet. And the more people that understand that they are an empath, the more that they can tap into their unique gifts and talents and be able to help heal those around them. So it's an honor.
Before you leave, yes, if I have the nurses but what's the other Instagram? Did you just have one Instagram?
So there's one Instagram. So it's official.
Okay. So
yes.
Nurses Forever Fit is something we're doing. Okay.
Yes. And let me mention something about that. Okay. The beautiful thing about 2020 is that I do have a background as a nurse, but the beauty of it has been being able to pivot my business. And this kind of goes with that spiritual awakening that I was speaking of earlier. And I would give advice to anyone out there who is feeling like they're slightly off kilter or slightly disconnected from the path that they're on. Like, okay, I can do this path, but is it really fulfilling? Is it something that, you know, I feel like this is what I should be doing? And these are things that no one can tell us that. It's just like being in love. You just know, right? And so having that awakening and understanding that, you know, working as a nurse and having that experience, I am grateful for that. But when COVID hit, I was able to awaken and pivot, because I said, this spiritual path has been with me like forever. This is a lifelong journey, and being able to kind of pivot and kind of sidestep into mainstream, and I'm not even going to call it mainstream, but more of a holistic, energetic healing path has been really fulfilling for me.
And that's fascinating. What's the IG? I want to make sure I get it. Official.
Okay. Cara, C-A-R-A.
Okay.
You see it, and it has a pink background.
Yeah.
Okay. Official Cara Sevier, C-A-R-A. And say official, yeah. And
yeah. No, I got it.
No,
okay.
Got
it. Yeah, okay. When I put your name in, it brought up nurses, and I like that one too. But all right, so we're following you. I wanted to make sure we got it. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for what you do. And and any way that we can help you knock down those barriers to people healing. This show is about healing, whether it's legal healing, psychological healing, psychiatric healing, business healing. We want to heal our people, and in our own defense is designed to do that. And so we're so appreciative. Only problem we got for you is you got to promise us you'll come back.
Absolutely. And that is not a problem at all. I have enjoyed myself. I'm excited. You all, please just invite me back and I'll be here.
Good deal. And maybe you can get a degree from Southern at some point.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Get out before you get
okay. You know, he getting out of hand, right? Wait a minute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Take care, love.
Okay. You too. Talk to you later. Bye.